Welcome to the Marketing Corner, hosted by Shawn Campbell, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned small business owner, or a marketing pro looking to sharpen your skills, you're in the right place. We're all about bringing you the latest insights, strategies, and real-world advice to help you thrive in today's competitive market. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Here's your host, Shawn Campbell.
Happy Saturday morning, everybody in Tucson, Arizona. This is the Marketing Corner. First and foremost, if you're out in the streets today, please be very, very careful. The Tour de Tucson is out and about, and on the way here, thousands of cyclists going down Aviation. It was a beautiful scene. And good luck to one of our sponsors, Bill Netherton, who's riding his second Tour de Tucson today. So hopefully he has a bunch of electrolytes in him, and he ate well before last year's race, and he didn't have enough electrolytes in him afterwards. So I wish him the very best out there. All the cyclists, please be careful out there. They're all over town today. It's a beautiful event. It brings in a ton of people from all over the country and the world to our city. So I was out there yesterday at the event and just met a lot of pretty cool people. So today we are talking video marketing. My good buddy, my good friend, Danny McPadden. How you doing today, Danny?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we don't see each other enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's all email and phone calls.
It's all email,
just
text, and boring stuff. But no, you and I are very much due for a beer, just to hang out and catch up.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
Let's do it right now.
We should have. We should have. I Ubered here. That's another story that I'm whining about today.
There you go.
But if I would have thought about it, I would have brought in some a six-pack. Some good IPA for us, and that would have been a really good show.
Next time, we'll do it next time.
Special guest Ty Reed.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Good, man. Good. It's nice to be here.
What I love, there's so many things I love about doing the show. One, we get a lot of value and information to the community. How to market ourselves better, entrepreneurship, etc. Right? But the amount of people in our first conversation, this is the first time Ty and I met, and a lot of the guests so far has been the first time that, so you're getting an authentic, real conversation, which I always preach, right? And I'm looking forward to whatever direction this show goes, whatever direction. I'm going to start by saying that when Danny forwarded me your information, Ty, the first thing I did was watch your video, These Habits.
Oh, my short film? Yeah.
Yeah. And Ty's like, yeah, just my short film.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Really liked it?
You wrote it, you starred in it, you directed it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's what got my attention. When I first brought Ty on to help me with a few projects.
Yeah.
But short films, they're a lot harder than they seem, I think.
Right.
I think a lot of people think that they can just jump in and do a short film.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fail at it.
Absolutely.
Or maybe they film a little bit and then they realize like, oh, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to be able to put it together, or it sucks. It tells no story, and it just becomes a complete flop. So seeing Ty's short film and having a coherent story, and it was well done, like well filmed, and he was the actor in it, and he probably did all the editing for it, I'm sure. Like, it was cool to see. You really don't see that very often.
The simplicity and how well the story is told is what
Thank
really
you.
So I was excited to meet you and just talk about that, talk about your background. I know Danny's background fascinates me all the time, but how did you get into video, Ty?
This is just a passion of mine, and with my short film as well, that was something that I was in a time of my life where I just wanted to create something, but then I didn't have any money. So I was just thinking, how can I make something that I alone can make all by myself,
Yeah.
This is something that I've been wanting to do since I was 12.
Wow.
So this is really a part of me.
Was the concept of it, the story, always in your head, or is it just you knew you wanted to do something, but you didn't know what it was yet?
Kind of in between. I always felt like there could be a story in which it's all just about isolation in this guy, and he's totally entirely dedicated to getting the cheapest dopamine. Just nothing but garbage per day. So yeah, no, I felt like it was a story that has been sticking with me, but then also when I was thinking, can I do something all by myself? That was the story that kind of was all in my head.
It's on YouTube. Do you have a channel?
It's Quiet Quail.
Okay. And it's These Habits. So here, everybody's homework as soon as you get done listening to this is to go on YouTube. Quiet Quail is the channel, and it's These Habits. So, but thank you for having Ty today. I appreciate it. So.
He's a powerhouse.
If anybody listening today has any questions throughout the program, the number is 520-790-2040. 520-790-2040. So what projects are you guys working on, or have you worked on, when it comes to your video?
Let's see. We have done, what projects have we worked on together? We have done some Canyon Ranch videos. Big resort in Tucson. And that is a beast, right? Like
you didn't hold back. We're doing some Canyon Ranch stuff. And,
they
typically you want to start at the bottom.
Right.
You can say I've done some work for you, Shawn.
That is a big production. There was so much going on there. First of all, their footprint is huge. It is a big resort. And then their staff is huge. And everything is extremely high end, as you can imagine. It's basically as high as you can get as far as service and elegance and 5 stars and all that.
Also, the staff is really nice to us specifically as well. They're all about making everyone comfortable. Really? And I wouldn't expect that for fellow staff as us, but they were totally. One lady, I forgot her name unfortunately, but the day we were doing a 2 or 4 day shoot, and she was like, I'm going to bring you guys water. I'm going to bring you guys granola bars. I'm going to buy it from Costco for the next day.
So it's even cool. As a video production team, we got treated like royalty, their clients awesome, and customers do.
So what type of, was it a marketing video you guys were doing?
It was, it was pretty much marketing videos. Some of it was filming events. Some of it was filming some presentations that they were doing about some of their services that they offer. But it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of hard work. I would say that was probably one of the more challenging shoots that I typically do, because there are so many different buildings and locations within the resort. So you have to constantly pick up all your stuff and walk clear across the other side of it, to get to the next shoot location.
Were you on somewhat of a schedule too, I'd imagine?
And you are, and you are. And because it's so ginormous, sometimes you have to have a map, to get around, and sometimes you're like, oh, okay, well, am I in the right spot? I don't know. But yeah, so it was fun. That was one of our first projects that we've done. Ty also helped me out with the Vera Earl.
I was going to ask about that. That's one of my favorite set of videos of yours so far to date. I really love those Vera Earl videos. Because you're out and open, the weather, and you just kind of used it all. It looked like you're having some inclement weather coming in. And you just used it. You didn't wait for a good day. You didn't, this is what we got to work with. And I love those videos that you guys did.
And I really like those because it's showing this, romantic Western lifestyle. And it's right here in our own backyard. I mean, that's 45 minutes away. And so just to kind of see that authentic cowboy lifestyle, and then to be able to eat the best beef in the world, it was a slam dunk.
They fed you guys too,
but I think that really shined because number one, the aesthetics of it, filming early in the morning in the golden hour, it pretty much did all the work for us. It really was beautiful out there. But That was a lot of fun to work on.
Yeah, a pretty good staff out there too.
Yeah.
Everyone was great.
Yeah.
I mean, like they catered to us like we were part of their family.
Right.
And then they sent us home with some beef afterwards.
Poor guys.
I know, it's tough, man. Tough.
The tough life of a videographer these days.
It's a hard life.
Woe is me. Yeah. No, it was also for that shoot in particular. I always knew of the process of how they do all the stuff with the cows, but seeing it like right there, I was like, whoa, this is some impressive stuff, you know?
Yeah. You guys did a tremendous job in capturing the whole essence of Vera Earl Ranch and what they do out there, and just the cowboys and just the testimonies that you guys captured was really pretty awesome. So we're winding down in the last 30 seconds of this first segment, but in the second segment, I want to get into more of the, what makes a good marketing video? What are some do's and don'ts? What are some of the common mistakes that you may see in videos today?
Yeah.
And, let's give some advice out there to some of the small business owners and entrepreneurs that, hey, video is king these days, whether it's on social or anything else you want to do. So we'll be back in a few minutes on the Marketing Corner. We are back in the Marketing Corner. My name's Shawn Campbell. I'm your host. Thank you for joining us, and happy Tour de Tucson Day. We're talking to Ty Reed and Danny McPadden all about video marketing. Let's get right into it this segment. What are some of the common mistakes and errors and opportunities that you've seen in your video marketing production out there?
No, I mean, there's a couple we can talk about. The first one that comes to mind is not really having a plan for who the video is trying to target, like exactly who the target audience is.
Right.
And I'm not just saying like, oh, well, yeah, it's like, dudes between the age of like 10 and 75.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, you got to narrow down your target audience.
Right.
And then you got to know the exact message that you're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
And you may not have to say that message very like clear cut in the video.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit more subconscious, but you have to know what that message is, and you have to find the ways in the video to convey that message.
Right.
And everything kind of supports that final call to action that you want the target audience to make.
Right.
And so it's like, that's the foundation. And before you even start talking about the creative aspects of it, or, what types of jokes you want to have in there, or what kind of scenes you want to have in there, like, you got to have the foundational aspect of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything is just kind of fall apart.
Yeah. Do you think some people still don't have the recognition of how important video is today? Even though we've been preaching this for the last 10, 12 years, with the advent of our smartphones and how easy it is to do a video for ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you think some people just don't think video is that important still, or?
It would depend for sure on the person, but I feel like it's all about how in tap they are with this kind of stuff, because I feel like if they don't really know too much, then they'll say like, oh yeah, I'll just make it on my iPhone in my bedroom, my ad or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they don't understand there's a certain quality that people will expect.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of it ties back to just because everybody can do it, everybody has a phone. It's so easy now to go out and record any video.
Right.
If it's not done well or creatively, or you don't have that kind of foundational plan, it's just gonna go out there into the abyss of all the other like billions of videos. Right. Like, just because it's easier to do now,
right,
doesn't mean it's going to be more effective.
Right.
Because you're you're competing with all the other crap that's out there.
Yeah.
Like, the cream's always going to rise at the top.
Right.
So if you've really like honed in your plan for that video and who you want to target, how you're going to do it, how it's going to actually stand out from all the rest, I mean, that's where it's at. That's really where it's at.
Yeah, and while I'm thinking about it, Danny's lastbridgemedia.com, right? Check out some of Danny's work on there, and it's just phenomenal. You got different types of video that you do, not just marketing videos, but you do documentaries. Did you do a documentary in like some other country?
Yeah, that was so that was a documentary. It's on PBS.
Yeah, it's on PBS. It won a few awards.
And that is on Finland and why they are the happiest country in the world for 7 years in a row now.
Yeah.
So there's 3 documentaries total. 2 are still kind of in the queue for broadcasting. And the first one is kind of like your general topic of why they're the happiest country in the world. The second one is more of like their quality of life in the wintertime. And then the third is purely on education. And so all those really were fascinating subjects as we kind of peel back the layers of the onion. I mean, it was just mind-blowing stuff. It really is.
Yeah. So Ty, when people are doing, videos, what are some of what in your opinions, specifically marketing their companies themselves or whatnot, what are some like, you're talking to me, we're going to be working together and do a video. What are 3 tips out there that you can provide to small business owners and entrepreneurs when putting together a video?
Oh man.
If you can narrow it down to 3.
Yeah. I would say preparation for sure in everything of developing your business, of the video that you want to make, talking with the client, all that kind of stuff. And then I would say study. There's when I went to film school, when we couldn't figure something out, we would say that we are also taking YouTube University.
Oh,
you
cool.
know, because it's free. So many free teachings online. You know. So study. And then I would also say, also have fun with it. You know, I think a lot of people are obsessed with the grind and getting to that certain elevation, but you got to remember why you're doing it.
I think that's definitely top 3 too, because I've worked with Danny on a few videos, and I think people are just so uptight before beginning the process that they don't really the translation of who they are doesn't really come through sometimes. And Danny, I've seen you at work. You're very good at calming people down, getting them centered, and just getting them just to be themselves. Yeah.
Well, and I think like the first couple takes are just going to be a throwaway too. And people don't realize that. They go into it and they think that like, oh man, like I have to nail it out the gate. When in the back of my mind, as the person behind the camera, I automatically know it's like, like the first 10 minutes, like just, you could say whatever you wanted to and do. You could do cartwheels and paint yourself purple. Like it doesn't matter because it's there's a 99% chance it's all just going to get thrown away. I'm not even going to look at it when I get back to editing. I'm going to go to the later takes.
We did a gig for a Catholic church not too long ago. I think about 3 months ago or something like that. And some of the people of the congregation, they were totally stiff as a board, and Danny's direction after a few more takes, he really simmered them down, and I definitely took note of that.
And you also have to explain to people that and especially if you're making like a testimonial video where there's a bunch of people that are going to be in the video, you have to explain to people that I'm not going to take your whole interview and use it like as one take, no edits. Like I'm just going to take the best 20 seconds and stitch it with a few other highlights that you had. And then I'm going to move on to the next person and take the best 20 seconds. And I think that really relaxes people. Because then they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to be perfect.
I think part of that though is the way you work. And this is a compliment because you don't write, everything's in your head. When I'm on set with you, Danny, I watch you as I watch more than anything because it's weird how you work, how everything's in your head. And then, we could be there for an hour and a half, and then right at the last, that one part we did, when we first started, I need you to say this one line a little bit differently. You know what I mean? And so I think that people don't understand that it's all like kind of logged inside your mind, however you do that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch you work.
Yeah, no, I
really
like
is.
you saying that, because I mean those are things that I'm not even thinking about.
Right.
But when you point it out, I'm like, oh. Yeah,
because you're not taking notes, you're not writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's all like, and then when you see the finished product, you're just amazed.
Yeah.
Because how you put these things together, and it's all in your head, and just
Well, and I think that when I'm filming and you have like the stakeholder with you or the client kind of behind you, and they're watching what's going on, they see all behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that it's like a failure, right?
Absolutely.
They're thinking that they didn't get the right energy or sound bites from their, the people in front of the camera, just because they don't quite realize, again, we're just taking the best bits from everybody, stitching it all together, and then it will come off as like a very high energy thing, especially when you slap some music on it and all the sound effects, sound design. It all kind of comes together, and they see it for the first time. They're like, oh, like I had no idea. No idea.
One of the most intriguing things you've ever, taught me about video, and many times we've discussed it, was you believe sound is even more important. The quality of the sound,
I do,
is more important than the quality of the video itself, the visual.
I do. Yeah. And I still stand behind that, and Ty probably agrees with me of how of how important that thing is, and most people don't even think about it. They think it's all about the visuals, but like I feel moved by sound, right? Like when it's a good soundtrack, when we're in the movies and it's a good soundtrack, and they have all the sound design in there. Sound design is just a fancy way to say like all the sound effects, right? Like everything kind of composed together with the music, everything. Like I think that's where I really feel a lot of emotion. So it's like when you get that right and the quality of it sounds good, it makes so much of a difference in terms of the value of the video and capturing people's attention.
There's nothing worse when you're trying to watch a video or listen to a podcast or whatever it is, and the sound quality is just like meh. It
sounds echoey, or it sounds like the person is 10 feet away from the
or there's a
microphone,
right above it.
Fan, or just weird noises. It takes people out of it. It really does. And I always say this, but people are much more forgiving of poor visual quality than they are poor sound. 100%.
Absolutely. So we're in the last minute of our second segment of the Marketing Corner. Special guest Ty Reed and my good buddy Danny McPadden, who spilled water all over
myself.
So if you have any questions for us in the last half hour of the show, feel free to give us a call, 520-790-2040. That's 520-790-2040. I'm your host, Shawn Campbell, and you are listening to the Marketing Corner. We are back in the Marketing Corner, the last half of the show. If you have any questions, 520-790-2040. I'm your host, Shawn Campbell. Co-host Danny McPadden, Last Bridge Media. How long have you been? How long has Last Bridge Media been around now, Danny?
Since 2018.
2018. You and I kind of started our gigs around the same time, I think.
I think I met you in like 2021.
Before you got here, I was talking to Ty about how we met. And it was through Mr. Paul Hopman. And I was like, any dude that can make scratch art, that's interesting. I need to meet.
No, that was a lot of fun.
Because I was pulling my hair out. Like, how the heck am I going to blow this guy up on social? I mean, then I saw your videos, and I'm like, oh, this guy's a genius. So
close-ups help a lot. Like, really getting close up to see those like microscopic movements that are happening. Helps.
Ty, how long have you had your gig now?
So long. About 10 months, 11 months,
10
something
months.
like that.
You're wet behind the ears when it comes to entrepreneurship. Tell us some of the things you've learned these last 10, 11 months. some of the things you've done pretty well. You think that you've done pretty well?
I would say first and foremost, on the business side of it, having to learn all of that, learning how to do your books, having to, form an LLC and everything like that. I'm not a very numbers guy, so that was pretty struggling for me, but luckily I have a free accountant, AKA my mother.
There you go.
So she helps me with
Free's
any
always
questions.
Good. Yeah, Free's always good.
But yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, I took a production assistant certification program in January, which was fantastic. And one of the biggest messages I got across from that was connections.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So as soon as I was done with that, I called up, I think about 30 Tucson videographers, and realistically, you're going to get 5 of your numbers saved into their file, and then 3 of them will actually call back, you know? And
I'm glad you put it like that. It really is like a numbers game. And I'm sure like sales works the same way.
Right.
Like you just know that if you call X amount of people, they're going to get a certain percentage.
Yeah. See, this is going to take an interesting turn for the show, because now we can kind of consult Ty on some of the things on how to grow a business, things that we preach on every single episode. We got the real, case study in our studio today. On, some do's and don'ts. So So I, as with every guest that I have not, met before, I always go online and check you out. So my recommendations: bigger social media presence, right? Post every day, that's,
okay.
All right. Have you, are you from Tucson?
Yeah. Born and raised.
So whenever I'm in a consultation with a small business owner that's just started like you, Ty, or somebody that's been around 5, 10, 15 years, and I want a bigger social media presence. I want a better website. I want this. I want that. The number one thing you should be doing doesn't cost you anything. You need to go out and shake hands, kiss babies. Your job as a small business owner right now is to be 1 degree away from everybody in Tucson. We're still kind of a quote unquote small town. Absolutely. It's not as much as, it's not what you know. And I could tell a lot about video, but it's who you know in this town, period. Right.
Yeah. When I met you, Shawn, I mean, you introduced me to like 10 or 15 people, and then it was like the floodgates opened. And that was a game changer. Really was. Just from one person.
One contact.
One person.
And you're the only person that I refer video to. I'm like, Danny's my guy. If you want to do a great video, and I know it's not just because the quality of your video, but it's how you treat the clients. One of the last referrals that we didn't work together on this, but one of the last referrals, they actually apologized to me because they thought they were too hard with you.
Okay.
Tremendous couple.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Danny can handle it. And I don't have to worry about that, right? So it's easy to kind of, hey, just call Danny and he'll make it happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you talked about this before, like the partnership is so important, right? Like who you decide to become partners with,
right,
is so important as far as your reputation,
right.
Like people will look at you and they know who you associate with.
Yeah, and I've failed on that end too when I refer some other aspect that's not in my wheelhouse, and I say, oh, call this guy up, and if that client, if the relationship is sour there, it's really going to come back on you.
To you.
Yeah. So that's another huge lesson, Ty, is, once you kind of expand your network and someone says, well, can you do social? And you're going to say, yeah, call Shawn. And then I mess that up. I know I represent you as much as I want to represent myself. You know what I mean? So you got to have a strong referral network, partnerships, and really, go out and, have a cup of coffee, have a beer, whatever your thing is with these people, really get to know them and see if they have integrity, see if they follow through on what they say they're going to do. And, like I said, I mean, you need to be 1 degree away from everybody, and don't put too much trust into people until they've earned it from you. Even at this early stage, that was one of my biggest mistakes. Oh, this guy's been in the business for 10 years. I trust him. It's like, no, go out with a dude and just, coffee, lunch. See how people act after hours when they think nobody's watching. Okay. And that's my definition of a brand. How do people act when they think nobody's watching you?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Last year, I primarily did a lot of U of A student film. I went to a college in Florida, but I moved back. It's like you said, I had a buddy in elementary school that I still somewhat kept in touch with, and I knew that he was doing U of A film.
Yeah.
So I just called him, and immediately he was like, hey, you want to do this short film that my buddy's doing?
Yeah.
And I've met some of my best friends from that one interaction.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean though of they got to earn it, because I definitely have some nightmare stories of some of those kids that I won't say. But,
Yeah. And just because you're in your first year, don't think that you don't deserve to work with somebody like a Danny McPadden. There's a reason why the two of you are working together. And so, have that confidence when you're going to collaborate with somebody else. It's like, you got to be on my standards. I don't care if I've done this for only 10, 11 months. I set in my, bar high. So.
Yeah. No, that's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah, there is a lot of good that will come from going to the social events and networking. And I'm not like a social person. I'm really not. Usually I shy away from those things, and every time I have to like force myself to go to that.
Right.
I literally have to force myself because I think back and I'm like, well, if I hadn't went to that one thing last time, I wouldn't have met so and so, which led to this other person, which led to this opportunity. Like so many opportunities come from those things, not from cold calling or sending out like cold emails. Right. Like that is just so much energy, and it does not a whole lot of return on the cold calling approach. But just going and socializing will get you so much further. I mean, light speeds of ahead of anything else.
Yeah, and you're actually really good at networking because you're just yourself, unlike half the people that show up are kind of pushy. Here's my business card, give me a call. And you just sit there and you talk to people, and, you're very easy to talk to for one. So, which is kind of the opposite of what a lot of people there show up.
Yeah. I believe that.
Have you done any networking yet, Ty?
Yeah, no. Visit Tucson puts together a Tucson film mixer once a month, and I love going to those. And I'm also the same way. I'm not super dive into the crowd, but there have been a couple times where I'll just stick to the friends I made there. But you really have to just in the front of your brain, just go talk to that person. Doesn't matter if you're interrupting them. Go talk to them.
You got to learn to be very comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, if you can do that 1 degree away from everybody in Tucson, then that's half the battle, I believe.
I mean, I'm always in awe of the people that can like walk into a room and just like pour out charisma and then like a magnet. They're like attracting people, and then they're at the center of a big group of people just like chatting it up. Like, I'm just that's a superpower that I'm always in awe of. Really.
But that's part of it. Then following through on what you say you're going to do. I think we're pointing Ty in the right direction. In about 10 years, he's going to be in your seat. He's going to bring up an up-and-comer.
Take it, man. I'll be retired, hopefully.
We were talking during the break about one of your strengths in the process, and that's the creative aspect.
That is probably where I feel the most strongly. Because primarily I think it all just boils down to if you're a storyteller or not. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be doing a commercial for tissue wipes. There's still a story there. Trying to just place your mind into the audience's mind is it's a balance for sure. And I really do love that aspect of it.
Do you like to incorporate humor in your videos?
I try.
I mean, I think that is the best technique. I mean, if you can make somebody laugh, like you have convinced them.
Right.
You have whether they realize it or not, them just laughing at something, they have been convinced.
Because you brought up tissue wipes, and there's a channel that I watch religiously every morning called Cheddar, and they bring on CEOs from all kinds of different industries, and I saw this little clip on the CEO of Dude Wipes, and how they lean into unfortunate accidents that happen, like in a sports arena or in public or whatever, and they make people dude wipe ambassadors.
Oh yeah.
So they really lean into like humor
and like self-degradation and I think that goes so far.
And their stuff goes viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
the way to do it.
I with my own little videos, I try to have some like dry sense of humor in there for people who know me to kind of get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I pull it off well or not.
The humor. It is hard to do. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, even in movies, like good comedies, like that is extremely hard to do, which is why there are so few really good comedies.
A few seconds left. We'll be back. You're listening to The Marketing Corner. We are back to the last segment of The Marketing Corner, and I always start the last segment by thanking John, our engineer. Thank you for everything every week. Danny McPadden, Last Bridge Media, for being one of our valued sponsors from the day one. Danny, I appreciate it.
Yep.
So David Bradley out there, Medicare A to Z. He's been busy. It's Medicare season. Poor guy's worn out. Candace Eaton, who was on last week, of Eaton Photography, Jamar Jordan, tax specialist. Good friend of mine, Roger LaFay Processing. Mark Weiss, Sales Performance Strategies. Mo Russo, new sponsor of the show. He's an executive and business coach. And, of course, Bill Netherton from Professional Bartenders. Hope you're being safe out there, Bill, during the Tour de Tucson. Next week, we got SEO specialists, Jordan Fernandez and Christopher Phil. We're nerd out more on the digital marketing aspects next week with those two gentlemen. They're like the two of you. I think I'm in over my head next week because SEO is a different beast that I just don't understand. Sometimes.
Well, I'm gonna tune into that one because I want to know.
Yeah, and these guys are good. they blow me away. They get down their rabbit holes and what they do for their clients, and it's pretty technical stuff.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure just when you have it figured out, Google changes the whole rule book on you.
From time to time. In 2 weeks, we're going to have two good friends of mine, Eric Spitzer and Ray Smith, as we're getting closer to the Arizona Bowl here in Tucson. I'm a Blue Blazer, part of the volunteer committee for the Arizona Bowl, and right now it's crunch time. We got Snoop Dogg as the sponsor of the Arizona Bowl. Snoop's going to be in town, and it's crazy because over the last 4 years I've been part of the committee, and when I've reached out to people, hey, do you want to be part of the committee? Do you want to do this? I get crickets back. So many people these last 6 months in particular. Shawn, buddy, how's it going? Can we get tickets? I'm like, dude,
nice.
I got proof here that you haven't returned any of my texts in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And right now I'm your best buddy.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. That's the key. You just got to get Snoop involved.
Yeah. So, in this last segment, I'm going to let the two of you kind of take it over. Let's give some final words of advice out there. And if we got about 7 minutes left in the show, if you have any questions about your video marketing efforts, 520-790-2040. I'll let the two of you just kind of riff from here. I mean, just give us some of the things that you do for your clients, and some of the things that give us some definitions. What's a hook? What's a good call to action? How do you incorporate all that into a video?
I can lead off. A hook is, just how it sounds. You got to hook the audience, and you got to do it fast. You got to do it in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And give them something that they haven't really seen before, or pose a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just this burning question that the viewer is going to stick around another 10 seconds to, okay, what is the answer to that question?
Mm-hmm.
I think mystery is such a huge part of creating a hook, right? pose something that somebody is going to want to stick around a little bit longer for to hear how it spins, hear how it unravels. And so that's what a hook is. I think every video should have one.
Yeah.
And then even in movies, all movies have a hook.
Yeah.
It may not develop in the first 10 seconds, right? Like in a movie, it might be a 5-minute hook. But I guarantee it that you are probably not going to stick around for that movie, especially if you're watching it on Netflix, right? Streaming it.
Yeah.
You're not going to stick around for that if they don't capture your interest in the first 5 minutes or a few minutes, and give you some sort of like visibility on what that movie is going to be about.
Lighting. You know, I'm horrible when it comes to lighting my own videos.
Yeah.
What are some general rules, some do's and don'ts when it comes to lighting?
Never do any overhead lighting. Primarily, I'm talking about if you just think, I'm going to just turn on the ceiling fan light, and that should be good enough. It depends on what project you're going for, but probably the most neutral way to do it is honestly just 2 soft boxes left and right of you. Make sure just to have distance.
Yeah.
And make sure, you know, the room is controlled. That's every time as a videographer, you want to walk into the room and be like, can we move this? Can we fly this out? Blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, filming with a window behind you is always tricky because it gets so bright that it's going to kind of blow out the rest of it. And then the sun is always changing, right? Or it goes behind a cloud, and then now you have this dramatic difference in brightness. Filming with a window behind you, really hard to do. I generally avoid it unless I have like the right lights to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Also, like if you're going for a cinematic look, I'll tell you what a cinematic look is. It is light coming in from the side. It is side angle lighting. Like Ty said, it's not overhead lighting. That'll give you the soap opera look. All right. That'll give you like the crappy sitcom look.
Right.
But yeah, side lighting a lot of times, like in scenes, or even like your high-end like Netflix documentaries. If you're watching an interview being done or anything, they're blasting a big ass light through probably a side window, and you don't see it. You just think it's the sun, but the sun only comes in through your window like a very small amount of the day. It's like from 6 a.m. to like 6:15 a.m. Right? It's a very small window. So when you see that side lighting, that beautiful big sun coming in any scene or interview, that's a big light coming through the window, and they've just diffused it.
Right. When it comes to producing videos for different social media platforms, and I think you're pretty good at this right here. So, are there any things that you try to avoid if you know a video is going to go on one platform or another, or things that in particular you want to make sure that it has? Whether it's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, or is it LinkedIn, or does it really kind of depend on the audience?
Yeah,
it would have to definitely. It's per platform. I do notice on YouTube, people are a lot more willing to just click, just to click, whether or not they're sticking with it. They're just way more likely to. But with something so blink and you'll miss it like TikTok, you really got to make that like 10, 15 seconds. You got to find a way to shrink that down.
Yeah, so it's got to flow faster, I think. But also, I think there's people I tend to be more attracted to a video that is more transparent, right? So it's not this overly produced thing, but it looks more casual. Like some dude is just talking into the camera, like a single person on the camera giving a testimonial, right? Like the more casual it looks, I think people gravitate to those more because it seems more honest, authentic, transparent. But I will say that you see a lot of videos where there is still a big production team behind it, like filming that to make it look good, but then they still try to make it look like it was just casually filmed off the cuff with a cell phone. It's funny. It's funny.
How important, or how many testimony videos have you done for your clients? I mean, it's one of the things I always preach when I'm, in a consultation. It's like, we need more testimonial videos, get your clients or your customers tell how great you are. Are there some, you mentioned a few of them already about being authentic, but are there other do's and don'ts when you're putting together a testimonial video?
I think it's like, if it's a choice between, you being on camera versus somebody else that's on your team that maybe has a little more charisma, like just get that person. Person with the most charisma wins. That's most like engaging to look at as far as the viewer is concerned. And then also like they got to deliver whatever they're saying in that testimonial. They got to deliver it, man. Like as soon as they start talking like how I'm talking right now, or I'm like, and then, see, all those like filler words, it just kills it. Kills momentum, and people are like, into now.
Last 30 seconds, how can someone get a hold of you, Ty?
You can check out my website, quietquail.com. There should be, we do videography, photography, and video editing for the greater Tucson area.
And Danny?
lastbridgemedia.com. You'll see my phone number, email address, but lastbridgemedia.com.
And I am your host, Shawn Campbell. You can reach out to me just call me 520-339-0259. Thank you for listening. See you next week.